we are looking at the difference between 7.2 and 7.3, where we were using sides of triangles, versus 7.4, where we're using pieces of the segments that are cut by parallel lines. 7.2, this isn't going to work, is it? 7.2 and 7.3. In those sections, we had triangles, and when we had these triangles, we were doing side length over entire side length. Side length over entire side length to set up our proportions. Especially when we're doing proofs. If you're doing a proof by side, 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 or side angle side, you should be doing the ratios of sides. That's what you did in the practice for 7.3. That is different from what we're doing in 7.4 based on 7.4 notes. 7.4 notes says you have two parallel lines, and they cut two different transversals. I hate it when technology doesn't work. Anyhow, I don't have another option right now. What we know then is that the ratio of the pieces, there's a piece, and there's a piece, there's a piece, and there's a piece, the ratio of those are going to be proportional. Those ratios will be proportional. So this is from 7.4. 7.4 says that if we have two transversals cut by parallel lines, or two transversals that go through parallel lines, then we can use the proportionality theorem for pieces. Whereas 7.2 and 7.3, we had to use sides. And it's still not working. So here we have to use sides. Here we were able to use pieces. Pay attention as you set up your proportions, as we get ready for the quiz, as you work on the quiz review. Am I doing something that had parallel lines? And so I'm doing piece over piece equals piece over piece. Whoa. I think it gave me a new sheet. Yep. Equals piece over piece. Or am I doing side lengths? Because if I did a whole side length on one of those, then I'd better use a whole side length on the other side. I cannot mix these two methods. I can't do side length over side length equals piece over piece. That will not work. So I'm either doing ratios of piece over piece, or I'm doing sides over sides. Pay very careful attention to that as you work on each problem in the BA review. In fact, one of the problems is wrong on your answer key, which is what I want to go over in 1 second once I reprint this. All right, so here we go. With this, there was a mistake made on the answer key. The answer key gave you an answer because they said, hey, you're trying to find the distance across the crater. And they said, well, let's put x over 533, which that's fine. What are those on the triangle? Sides or pieces? Sides. This is a side. That's the side of the base of the big triangle. That's the side of the baby triangle. So, or the small triangle. So these are sides. This is side over side. Well, on the answer key, the answer is wrong because they did this. They said, oh, well, I did big over small. Why don't I do big over small? And they did 800, or maybe they did the reciprocals of these, I don't remember, over 644. That's not, those aren't side lengths. 644 is a side, but 800 is a piece, not a side. So this proportion isn't going to work to solve it correctly because I have side over side versus piece over side. Question?
So you would add 800 plus 64?
Yes. To make this a side, the answer key needed to do this full side length. We were doing, if I'm doing big triangle over small, I did side over side. So now I have to do this whole thing, 800 plus 644, which makes that 1444.
Over 644.
And then not the piece, but the actual side of the small triangle was 644. Now the problem is set up correctly for cross multiplication. So let me see if I can open my calculator real quick. Come on. taking forever. Oh, there we go. Thank you. Maybe not. I don't know if it opened on the wrong screen. I think it opened on the wrong screen. All right, it opened on the wrong screen. So we're gonna just grab a calculator here. We have the 533 times 1444, working out to 769,652. And that is equal to 644x. When we do those cross products, divided by 644, we get x to actually be 1,195 and 1/10, but they didn't say the nearest tenth, they said the nearest whole number. So 1,195 meters is the correct answer for 7.3 practice problem number 3. But this goes to the point that, I mean, even the teacher who made this, he made this mistake. I've made this mistake before on other problems too. If you're not paying attention or if you're rushing, now that we're looking at something that's involving pieces of the triangle, that only works if we're given parallel lines. So when we're setting up our proportions, if we have full side lengths, then the other ratio has to be full side lengths. Okay? Unlike a problem that you just did in the U-try, because we were given parallel lines, we have the option, I'll just call this A, B, and C, D. There's 2 ways to solve this. I could do, because of the parallel lines, I can do piece over piece. A over B over C over D. Okay, looking at those as pieces of the segment that are split by parallel lines. Or I could treat it as side over side. A over A plus B equals C over C plus D. What if I have E and F? If I have the ratio of E to F, do I want to use a ratio from the blue or a ratio from the pink to complete that proportion? Yes?
Pink.
Has to be the pink, because this is a full side length and this is a full side length, so therefore I have to do a full side length and a full side length. So if I were doing with A and B, it would be A from the small triangle over A plus B from the larger triangle. Okay? So pay attention as you set up your problems. Even on this practice, you're going to be working with pieces for 7.4. But as we review for the BA, for the quiz, for the final exam, whenever you set up a proportion, you want to make sure you're being consistent. These are pieces. These are sides. Be consistent.